on this trip to see the dolphins, did you perchance see a coffee shop or stop anywhere for coffee along the way?
That is a good question. No, we did not this trip, but where we took the boat was in fact a coffee shop.
Mm.
The boat slash coffee shop right on the water. So people come there just to have coffee and look at the scenery, and you can also take the boat.
Do you drink coffee? Are you a coffee drinker?
No, I really dislike the cafe culture, and I don't drink coffee.
What do you mean you don't like cafe culture? Like in
I just
general
don't
or
like
Korea?
everyone. I don't like going to them. I don't like being in them. I don't like. It's just really interesting
That's
on
a
Jeju,
weird
and then all the
aversion.
students will go there for hours, and they'll take all the tables, and then they'll put their bags on the tables and go to dinner for 2 hours, and they're just holding their table. I don't know. I just don't like it.
Okay.
Now I sound like you.
Yeah, you curmudgeon-y grumpy Alexis, get over coffee shops.
I know everyone's always like, "What? That doesn't even." But I just dislike it. I don't know why.
Because when we got here like a decade ago, the only place I could get a proper cup of coffee was like a drip coffee, which
McDonald's.
We didn't even have McDonald's then.
Oh yeah, we didn't have McDonald's. Yeah.
It was a Dunkin' Donuts. That was the only place you could get it, and it's because everything was like the mixed coffee, which is repulsive to me. It's sugar but all the older Koreans really love it, right? Like that's their drink, and then Americano, which is not my cup of tea. But now there's like you can't go 5 feet without hitting a convenience store and a coffee shop.
A million of them. It is absolutely crazy. The island, just the landscape has changed so much because you'll be on the beautiful coastal road that used to have nothing but fields and ocean and sea, and now there's 10 million coffee shops.
Right. Well, you know how like a couple episodes ago we were talking about how bars and places were closing down because of the pandemic, right? Yep. Well, apparently one of the businesses that have bloomed on Jeju during the pandemic have been coffee shops.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. It sounds ridiculous.
Considering how much I dislike them, that makes me irritated.
Well, the National Tax Service released information that said coffee shops on Jeju in the last year grew by 23%. The number of coffee shops. That is madness. 23% they grew by.
That's madness.
Yeah. So, and that's 284 coffee shops. So now there's 1,517 coffee shops on Jeju. 1,517 official.
That's a fantastic factoid, Darryl. Good job with that one. That is, that's a really high number, but I'm also a little surprised it's not more. Like when you just even going to through AWOL or over to the Gimyeong and past Gimyeong, Woljung Beach.
Yeah.
It's just all cafes, and I feel like there's 100 just on that beach.
I wonder how many are missing from how they're defining specifically coffee shops, right?
Yeah, exactly.
There's got to be more. I'm like, wow, that's a lot, but also
it's a lot, right? But when you're and when you can, you just said, every 2 steps, every 5 steps is another coffee shop. Right. So when you can just walk in a normal neighborhood, like my old neighborhood, and you can see 10 of them, you got to wonder, Yeah. Wow, that's interesting.
And that's one coffee shop for every 199 households on Jeju.
I also like that fact.
Well, based on the fact that
you're just making me grumpier about it. I'm not going to lie to you. Now
I mean, I trust the numbers, but I also, like I said, I think there's more here, right?
I agree. I was shocked that they're growing when people have been spending so much time at home.
I think, because tourism has dropped drastically, right?
Right.
But there's still people who have been coming to the island from the mainland.
Ton of people,
right? And so and coffee shops are a huge Koreans drink an obscene amount of coffee these days, right? According to 2018 statistics from Hyundai Research Institute, adults drink about 353 cups a year of coffee, which is more than it used to be, and I think it's also indicative of people coming to Jeju, right? People want to the scenic, the more the sitting down and the walking around.
Insta cafes. Yeah. So they can take their selfies at their cafes.
Exactly. And how many people have you met that are I want to come to Jeju, or I want to be here and I want to open a cafe? It's everyone's dream.
Oh, I have a lot of friends that own cafes. So yeah.
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 Oh, well, there you
Yeah.
go. Not just
I think a
people
lot
who
of
said
people
that.
from Seoul came down and invested into doing it, and they don't. It seems to me like I had a couple friends that had cafes, and they go bankrupt, it goes bankrupt, and they're like, oh well, we gave it a go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's odd.
I know.
But that's true. I've seen quite a few people do that, and I've also spoken to a lot of people who are like, I want to become a barista. Like it's like a
Right.
cool hip thing to
It's
be now.
very popular classes here in Jeju is to take barista classes. Very popular.
And hand drip. I used to think that was such a like a I don't know, like a fad.
Hipster?
Yeah, very
Yes.
hipster. Like you get a good friend of mine, Brett. He used to take us to this coffee shop, and it take him like 20 minutes to brew us this hand drip coffee
that's
that took like
ridiculous.
7. Like it cost like a Manon, right? $10,
Nope.
and then you get
ridiculous. Give me a beer.
it. Yeah, and it'd be like room temperature because it took so long to make it.
Did it taste good?
I mean, it cost me $10.
Was it mind blowing?
Right, like so I'm already
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the scene is great. Do you have a favorite coffee shop on Jeju? Since we're talking about it.
Well, I do. I have one in Shin Jeju. I just like the owner, and she's got she filled it with plants. So I like her, and I like her plants, and she has really good tea. So I'll go there occasionally, but like I said, it's not something like I don't.
Right.
I prefer to go sit in a park with a friend than be like, let's meet at a cafe. It's just not something I do.
Right. Yeah. Well, there's one in Jungmun I quite like. It's called Cafe Manu, and it's like walking into my aunt's house, like farmhouse back in Canada. Right, like it's got all these antique furniture, spoons on the wall, like the collectible spoons, and like there's dresses that are antique dresses. It's kind of odd. Yeah, it's kind of odd, but I really love the owner. The owner's really really sweet.
Yeah, same with me. As the owners make it right.
Yeah,
but that just sounds like people go there just for the Insta stories and stuff.
Sure.
I feel like.
Yeah, I'm not sure how popular it really is, to be honest with you.
Okay.
But
man, if you can get Instagram famous here in Jeju, your business is going to be golden.
Yeah, no kidding. No.
Yeah, I have a friend that owns a cafe out in what's up behind Hamdok? What's that town? It'll pop into my head. Anyways, They have a really famous cafe because they have a massive picture window behind the sofa, and it looks out over a field of wheat and a really old barn.
Right.
And you'll see that all over Instagram. People come from all over just to sit on that couch and take a picture at that window. It's crazy, but they do great business. So I'm happy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is. There's quite a few coffee shops that are literally made around taking photos.
Absolutely.
Coffee's coffee.
Absolutely.
For the most part, right?
Yep.
Except for my place in Jungmun, they have very special coffee there. They even have the coffee that the marsupial, the animal that eats the beans and poops it out, and then you take the pooped out beans and you turn it into coffee. He actually has that there.
That's from Vietnam, right?
I don't remember. I just thought of it now. I'm like, oh, and it's not. It's quite expensive, but I had to try it. It's fine. It's nice. I
try
enjoyed
the poop
it.
coffee.
Yeah.
All right. Great story, Darryl.